tell you. I'm feeling pretty confident about this one, boys.
Oh yeah.
Feeling pretty good.
Oh yeah. This is great, especially when you're not here, Kev. This is the fun part. This is.
Oh yeah, a little bit of trips back and forth. Not really. I wouldn't say nailed it. We were
nailed
we
it
were
would be,
we were nailed.
Nailed it would be lying.
So,
Yep.
you were the nail, is what you're saying.
Last week we were sponsored by Callaway. This week PXG. So golf.
Wow.
Big sponsors
we have
for
a
us
lot
this
of,
week.
We have a lot of golf listeners.
Cozy Earth.
Cozy PJs.
We got some PXG golf clubs and some super comfy PJs. I think that is pretty darn
People
good.
wear PJs though.
Dude, what do you?
PJs?
Not like matching PJs. I have PJ pants and an old shirt. That's pretty
I
good.
got some. Everyone, they got a piece of PJ pants.
Man.
I feel like whatever you wear to bed are PJs. I don't think you know anymore.
Well,
That's if you wear anything.
I was going to say that.
Because
I wouldn't show up in my
I'm about 30 years, 35
We're gonna
years
do a
strong
PJ
with
show.
I'm
the,
coming into my PJs.
the old
Sorry,
birthday
can't
suit
totally-
PJs.
Right. But yeah,
The birthday suit PJs is
I'm not a PJ wearer as I slump.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
welcome everybody.
I can never unknow that, but that's okay. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marigold. This is, thank God,
We're
it's
talking about
Tuesday.
PJs?
He's Tim Strachan.
I still have no idea what the hell is happening in the NFL right now. But
Okay.
it's fun. It's still fun, and it's especially fun to be watching these watching skins doing this stuff.
Okay.
I don't care how it looks. The feeling when it's all done, it's great. It's been great Sundays.
It's not all done. He's Kevin Ricca.
It's not all done, but I mean, I was left-handed.
Can
up
we
on
enjoy
Sunday
it?
as well? I also want everyone else to know. T was admitting he also wears PJs when he
PJs.
sleeps. Right. So yeah, you're pretty much the oddball out on this one.
All I said was, if whatever you wear to bed, any article of clothing that one would take into the
Mike seemed
bedroom,
low.
Mike seemed low. I tell you why.
I'm on mute.
How about
better?
that? Is that a little bit better? Kevin's mic is
What
low
I was
'cause
saying was-
Kevin's mic is off because he wasn't here last week, but now he's back on. We just made it up. You're back.
The whole PJ conversation.
Don't worry, you
God.
still got it.
Sorry,
Your
it's fair.
PJ snuck
Saved
into
by the
my microphone.
podcast fairies.
I sleep naked. I just sum it all up. The last 3 minutes that everyone was horrified about.
I didn't
missing.
know that was a question. I don't know.
Whatever.
No, it was not a question. Nobody asked.
Oh, Ken.
But
Ken was super.
but
The
it's-
whole time Ken was like, "What? K?"
¿Qué? ¿Por qué? But we have an answer either way. EO, Greg Martin, AGH, Robert Cohen, Ken Harris, Nasta, everybody, and a great tournament for the.
Can we go left hand up on this one?
I'm left-handing it up. Great tournament from the boys in Wales. AGH, you acquitted yourselves very nicely. I know it wasn't the result you wanted, but I was proud to watch those guys, and hopefully, some of them young players will continue to progress. To all of our Team USA fans, great day today for United States and our soccer program. We don't have to do the soccer football thing. Did you guys watch the game?
I did.
Yep.
I mean, it was I liken it to at least midway through and beyond, like NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. That like feeling that of the knot in your stomach.
Yes.
But at any moment, something could happen that could break
Especially
your heart.
at the end there, it got a little.
Sure. It's awesome. It's an awesome season for sports. I mean, you don't ever get World Cup during NFL season ever. It's
we
never.
cheersing now?
It's in the
Can we-
summer.
can we drink?
I just got thirsty.
cheersed.
I thought we were cheersing.
I
think
cheersed
we didn't
also.
cheers.
Cheers.
The
Cheers.
having World Cup and NFL at the same time is pretty awesome. But
I'm just not thrilled about the 9
Got
a.m.
basketball.
I know.
Hockey.
The 9 a.m.
got
slate
all
for
kinds of
Saturday
stuff.
morning. Well, that's just a kick to the.
it's
soccer
not really
ball.
our like. It's not good. It's not aimed at us.
It's not good on the front side or the back side. It's the exact worst time ever. But whatever.
There's been
Add to
tons
that-
of volleyball. Aren't you? I'm a
Okay,
big,
there you
huge
go.
Volleyball fan.
I love
too.
volleyball too. T.
Great sports on right now.
I didn't know we were gonna go volleyball, but I'm not afraid to. But
Hey,
can you give me
I
like
thought we
your
were
favorite
going with
team?
the whole. It's a great time to be a sports.
Can you
fan
give me
right
like
now.
who's your favorite volleyball team? Have you been watching?
The Terps, of course. But
Okay.
I mean,
I don't have a favorite volleyball
I thought you were gonna
team,
go with the Wisconsin
but
women's
I'm
volleyball
open.
team.
I'm open for suggestion.
yeah, they've had a lot of
They've been in the
off
news.
the court.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Off the
Controversy
court
as well.
controversy. That got crazy quickly.
Weird.
Yeah. Super
I'm
weird.
so glad there weren't phones. I had this conversation with my wife today. I'm so glad there weren't phones when we were younger.
Sure.
Holy crap.
Right.
Life would be so different. So
But
different.
it's crazy because first of all, there's no one taking any pictures in in dudes' locker rooms for any sport and it getting out.
Yes, they are.
Well, but but then like not the Wisconsin girls basketball team style when they're all
You heard
posing
about
as a
Coppin
team.
State lately?
Or no, I haven't heard about the Coppin State,
Oh,
but that
go-
it's
Go Google that.
I don't even. I mean, hopefully, it's being taken down at this point. But the edited up team picture, the Wisconsin, girls volleyball team thing, that was ludicrous. And
I missed it.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see any actual photos.
well,
I
by the
didn't
time
search
it got
for them
out
either.
in pictures, it started. It made its rounds, and then it went down immediately because there was like a police investigation, and then they were saying there were videos, and I was like, oh my dear God, like this is like the worst possible thing that could be happening to a bunch of student athletes, right? But it's weird how it goes double standard style for the boys and girls. But we don't have to go down that road tonight.
And then we'll bring it back here.
We'll bring it back here.
To where we're talking about the Skins.
Well, awesome sports
How great it
and
is.
our team's winning. How about that? How about it's a time for
Thanks.
it's a time for thanks, but it's
It's
a time
the
to
happiest
actually
time of year.
watch our team win.
Most wonderful.
Yeah.
We haven't. This
It's
is
all
this is the
living up
most
to its billing
most
right
games
now.
we've won in a season in 5 years. It was 6 years ago that we won 8 games at all. We've won 4 years. We had 7 wins. 1 year we had 3 wins. So right now at 7-5, we're sitting on a year's worth of wins. But what we've been up to for the last 5 or 6 years, which is crazy. And season ends today. Skins are in the playoffs, along with every single other team in the NFC East. That's weird.
It's insane. A record against NFL football is insane. I think it's like 28-11 or something. It's nuts what we're doing to people, and the beast is the East right now. I love it.
What was it? Just 2 years ago.
Everything's 80s. Everything's
Right?
coming back to the 80s,
Just
man.
2 years ago, we were the butt of the joke of every joke. I mean, and it was blatant. We were bad about it.
Yeah, but we were the butt of the joke because of our averageness. That's what I keep trying to explain to people. Like all these turds going 1 and something and 2 and something. We were just blatantly right in the middle. There you go, Bushmills.
Yeah, so
I mean, how many
commentary
7
on
and
the board.
9 and 7 and 8 and 8 and 8 and 8-7 in 1 years can you have? That's all we've done for 6-7 years. Being on top of it and not playing catch up for the first time, which we already had to do. But I think this is the most wins we've had at this point in time since 2008 is what I saw. The most wins we've had this early in the season.
Yeah, this early in the season. That's right.
Oh God, it gets confusing.
You look at and Kevin, you can see it because I pulled it up before the show. We haven't had double-digit wins in 10 years.
I won't look.
We haven't
I'm
had
gonna ask
double-digit.
questions.
We haven't had double-digit wins twice in 23 years. We had 10 wins twice, and that's it. Single-digit wins the rest of the way. a smattering of 5s and 6s and 7s. It's been
Gross.
rough. Really, you're looking at what we're seeing now. I was thinking like this is like a season that's reminiscent of the 1900s Redskins football, all the way back in the 1900s.
I'll take it. Depends on what year it was and who was the owner, but I'll take it.
1900s ball.
Actually, it was a bad owner.
It was a bad owner, too.
It was a
Yeah.
bad owner too. But I will say this: our boy Heineke had 12 and 9 on his last 21 games.
Yeah.
That's another situation there, dude. I mean, Tom Brady is also 12 and 9. Aaron Rodgers is 11 and 10. The reigning back-to-back MVP is 11 and 10 in his last 21 starts.
I told
you
you,
talk
I
about
don't know what's
I'm just
happening.
telling you. But
I don't.
Herbert,
Can't explain.
Russ, Stafford, Fields, Murray, Daniel Jones, Trevor, Baker, Watson, all these names, Mariota, Jameis, Wentz, Darnold, Ryan, Goff, Geno, Dalton Carr, Mills, Wilson. Not one of those guys has had a better last 21 starts than Taylor Heineke. I don't know how he's doing it because he's throwing for about $1.99 a game.
No idea.
A touchdown and definitely a pick. It's like a 1-on-1. And I love the guy, but he just wins. And all these dudes that he's doing this to, and all these dudes he's beating.
Yep.
Look at this.
And his shoe game is getting
Shoe game's
ridiculous.
getting nuts. The Jordan 4s, the green and white Jordan 4s are sweet. They did.
16 first-round draft choices
Yep.
have not got his numbers in the last 21 starts. 6 of them are number ones. 6 number one draft choices do not have a better last 21 starts record than Taylor Heineke. So let's be leery.
For $2 million a year.
Let's be leery.
For $2 million a
And
year.
I don't know. I agree. And I don't know how he's doing it. I really don't. He just wills it. Everyone else, every active dude with 21 starts in the league right now was drafted. He's the only guy not drafted. Like everyone he goes up against, his pelts are sick. I mean, I could go all day. But
So how is he doing it? We know that his numbers aren't blowing anyone's skirt up. Just like if you just covered up names and faces and just looked at numbers, you'd be like but what I was putting out for today's show on Twitter and on Oxhaven is just that, like, people are mischaracterizing this as ugly, in my opinion, because I don't believe winning is ugly. But I think that winning is winning. The way
isn't pretty.
I disagree because I'm arguing it's pretty because I'm arguing that there's a deliberate, purposeful thing happening on the field, and it has a lot to do with Ron Rivera, and it has a lot to do with guys doing their jobs, and it has to do with like literally 11 men times 2 pulling in the same direction, and we've seen good players come through this town and not pull the same direction as their teammates. We've seen coaches come through and let themselves down at the end. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I look at the 7-5 record and I think it's so much better than 75. But what I think about it is that it's a beautiful thing because it's somewhat balanced. We started slow, but it's been somewhat balanced across these 12 games, and it's the arc that you want. We're constantly getting better. The shoring up of the leaks that would cause you to lose a 20-17 game instead of winning a 19-13 game, I think that's beautiful.
It's beautiful in the manner of like a coal miners town football team getting it done, right? It's got that mentality, in my opinion. It's got this hard nosed. We're gonna play physical. We're gonna play hard. We're gonna be tough. It's the stuff that the Vince Lombardis are celebrating as they look down upon the way the game's being played right now.
Yeah.
I mean when I say it's not pretty, it's not dominant. It's not
But isn't it?
superstars doing superstar things and week in and week out. These are lunch pail guys that are going in and working their ass off and earning every single win. I mean, we haven't scored over 23 points in how many weeks?
we're playing defense and
Only
controlling
done it
pace.
once.
That's why. That's and the idea behind it is after Wentz was done with Heineke in the game, now we run the ball 15 times more a game. We're running for 50 more yards a game. We have dedicated ourselves to the run game, and obviously Brian Robinson coming back after being out for the first month has certainly contributed to that. But we have a whole different game plan now. We are not trying to spread the ball around to all these receivers throwing the hell out of the ball. I mean, I know Wentz had at least 14 more attempts per game through the first 6 games. So this has changed what we're doing now. And what we have to do with this guy Heineke as the quarterback is not get him into 3rd and longs. So you notice we're taking a few shots on 1st down, but we are running the ball on 1st and 2nd down. And here's case in point. When we are 3rd and 4 or less in the 6 games Heineke started, we are 18 for 26 converting on 3rd down. We are 5 for 24 in 3rd down and 5 or more.
That's the best stat.
We are 0 for 12 in 3rd and 10 or more. So here's the deal. In our last 5 games, we're 0-12 of conversions of 3rd and 10 or more. That's the stat. So 18 of 26, we have to stay ahead of the sticks. This is what we need to do. No penalties, no mistakes, and we got to run the ball. We have to advance the game. And by the way, our offensive line was taking a licking at the beginning of the year, and especially for me, has totally changed up. And this is because obviously they're better at this. And when we're trying to throw the ball, 15 times a game more, that's going to cause more sacks and more lost plays and more lost yardage. And we can't afford to do that right now. So the game plan that's brought itself together as a result of having Heineke in there and Brian Robinson back in there is pretty cool. And we're using that formula and we're imposing our will on people. And it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch Heineke make plays in 3rd down, but it has to be within 3rd and 5 or else we're in some trouble, man.
But look, it is lunch pail football, right? It is lunch pail football, and in 25 years of covering football and analyzing it, the way I've been doing it, 3rd down stats are the most telling stat of all in terms of your success rate, your success of winning, your success of being, good. And what they're doing right now is what we saw in that 4-game stretch last year. It's the running game that gets it going. And then when Heineke's called upon, sometimes it isn't pretty. Sometimes he's just going, that guy's a professional too, and I'm going to give him a chance to make a play. And he's believing in that, and they're believing in him. It's some of this is just freaking heart. Let's not pretend that this is such a difficult, complicated game. Sometimes it's about who the hell freaking wants it more. And right now, he's playing like he wants it more than any other quarterback that's on a field with him or anywhere else.
Only one pass play over 25 yards, and Ken Harris has 2 comments because he stole my no real deep plays, but a lot of 12 personnel.
Let me just correct real quick. 18 of 26 and 3rd and 4 or less.
Okay.
9 of 20. I mean 9 of 40 and 3rd and 5 or more.
Okay.
In the last 5 games, anytime we've been in 3rd and 10 or more, we're 0-12. So obviously you get the picture here. I'm not trying to just 3rd and 5, 9 out of 40, 3rd and 10, 0 for 12 last 5 games, but 18 to 64, rocking and rolling against, like we did against the Eagles when we controlled the entire pace of the game. That's our formula, and thank God for this defense. Thank God for these young bucks coming up and showing up. Thank God for Jack Del Rio, another guy we were giving a total boatload of shit to early in the year. But I tell you right now, they put it together. And when was the last time you guys had any confidence down in our red zone and those guys got the ball? Because it really reminded me of that Super Bowl when Pete Carroll said, "Let me throw this thing," and we were like, "Why would he throw it?"
Look how we came out of the season with Wentz under center. 1st down, we threw it a lot. We got after it to try. Like you said, he was throwing 14 more balls a game. He was throwing a lot of those balls on 1st and 2nd down. When we watched the Burgundy and Gold take the field now, it's a healthy dose of Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson on 1st and 2nd down on most downs, and also they put themselves in positions where they can choose to run on 3rd down, and they have. They've run this week alone. We had 11 rushing first downs, and 8 passing first downs. So there's a little bit of balance in the way we move the sticks, but we are calling plays that we know Heineke can run, but it's not. He went from being a really great backup, which he still is and will always be, to being a guy who's now been here for 2 years. He knows the coaches know him. He knows the system, and they're able to do things with him this year that they weren't able to do last year. They're able to do things with him now that they weren't able to do when he first stepped on the field as our backup and started a couple of games this season. And there's a comfort level, and he is turning into more than just a really great backup. And I don't want to get over my skis and, we don't have to go down the re-sign him or not situation. All I'm saying is he's a bona fide starter in the league. He's proven that he can do the one thing that matters the most, that people hold quarterbacks the most accountable for, which is wins. And if he's on the field for wins, you go back in the locker room and the other guys turn around and look at him and say, hey, we can win with this guy. And that's all you need when you can play defense the way we're playing defense. And when you let your offensive line play with their weight in front of them and pushing the other team around. Once again, we own the time of possession. And owning the time of possession against Atlanta Falcons, that's a lot harder to do than when than just every once in a while pop up and and crush the Eagles in TOP or dominate some of these other teams like the Texans in TOP. The Falcons are. I thought it was a great clash of styles. The Falcons are a team that can keep it on the ground. They can run it with their quarterback. They can eat up clock, and they can keep your defense on the field. And they did that to us, on Sunday. So 33 to 27. That's in our advantage on TOP. I think that is a huge stat because it could have been if we would been playing against somebody else, it would have been much more exaggerated. I think that extra 6 minutes of offense, if you look at the way the game ended, was meaningful. It mattered, and I think that's hard to do against a team when Marcus Mariota was holding the ball and running off tackle like gangbusters in the first half, and that was, watching with Pat Ward and Mike Ward, and I'm sitting there like, how can he keep doing this? And Pat just he's like, it's pretty hard to stop. It's like, you know exactly what he's doing, and it's pretty hard.
Setting the edge in the NFL is one thing, but attacking the edge, and that's your game plan. Apparently, that's Atlanta's forte.
And they do it,
and we watched that.
As long as
we watched that
Mariota
unfold.
is healthy.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you guys? I didn't put a lot out on Twitter. I didn't want to bore people to death with up close calisthenics, from the field. But
why were you guys doing calisthenics? Is my whole question. Like,
I didn't get loose. It was pouring down rain, and I was pretty geared up. But
stretchy ass bastard.
Did you get to watch the whole game from the sidelines?
No.
Oh,
no,
you didn't.
I don't think that is something people. I think that's like just team personnel. Maybe they can get a couple people.
So you had to go up to a box after that.
No. We had a ticket in the seats.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, people watch it on TV. It was miserable. It was like 40-something degrees, but it was raining the whole time, so it felt like 30. You know what I mean? Like it was just. But they had to be out there in it. I loved watching. I was standing right at the tunnel where the Skins were coming out in their defensive groups. It's fun watching the high school players do it for a year, and then obviously you get the NFL, and you're like, oh yeah, there's specials. Here comes the offensive line. Here comes the secondary. It's cool, and obviously they're gigantic. But it's cold, short sleeves. They're getting rained on, doing their calisthenics. I mean,
they call it a warm up.
They were warming up.
A dynamic warm up, perhaps.
A dynamic warm up.
They're out there doing their calisthenics, I think.
But you know who was gigantic? Who I think that, especially for Washington fans who don't get a chance probably to see him, I got to stand this far away from him. Cordero Patterson.
Yeah,
he's a gigantic man.
Barrel chested.
Oh my Lord.
He's a muscle.
I can see he doesn't look like a tall, slender, get after 6'5" possession wide receiver, and he doesn't look like a 5'11" squatty, 200-pound running back. He just looks like a massive human being. And I'm like, oh my God, who's tackling this guy 25 times a game? And it was, I couldn't believe it. His legs are gigantic. I mean, that was everything about him was
That's
impressive.
their whole game plan. That dude
Is
and then
unbelievable.
freaking London Drake's a massive dude, and then not having Pitts out there was helpful for us. They want to mash you. They want to mash you with physicality, and that's their brand. But you see with the time of possession, they will also get out there and go fast. They want to keep your personnel out there and pin you down and hold you against your will and aggressively run off your edge all day long. And that's what they did on occasion. But
catch you in your PJs.
Don't get caught in your PJs last
You were
weekend
catching us in your PJs
until someone convinces me that PJs are what I think they were. Anyways. That threw me off my train of thought. I'm picturing Arthur Smith and his PJs right now.
Really?
But thank you I'm glad he threw the ball on that play. That helped us out a lot. But that is the type of physicality those guys want to bring. I respect that. I actually coached against Arthur Smith in high school. He played for Georgetown Prep when I was coaching my little brother. So I've been in a game involved, and I'm sure he remembers it like it was yesterday.
Oh. He ran up to us. He was like, "Do you guys remember?"
Yes, there was a muffed punt that day.
He must have talked about it with Griff at some point. I'm sure
of course
it's come up.
The muff punt, or just the whole game in general?
The whole game in general.
Yeah, he didn't muff the punt.
No,
but
one was muffed.
Look, it's impressive what he's doing.
Marcus Mason was on that team. Future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was.
It's impressive what he's doing down there with what he's got. I think they're not far. I hope he hangs on. He's a smart guy.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
he'll hang on. He's got that team at 5-7 right now.
That's what I mean.
He deserves to hang on.
Yes.
No. He's doing just fine. No. He's made them. They just traded away their 15-year franchise quarterback, and they're hanging on and having a better year than previous. So
for Skins fans to get a sense. The Atlanta Falcons. I don't have the exact number on it, but when we were on their sidelines for a while and talking to some of their guys, and it was like a refrain. We were around a bunch of guys who were on IR who were warming up, and dynamic calisthenics, Kev.
Dynamic warm up.
Dynamic warm up.
Dynamic
sorry,
warm-up.
sorry.
Yes.
But these guys were guys who
Following calisthenics.
weren't going to play at all, and they looked like they could have formed their own team and beaten it. I mean, they were just gigantic dudes, and they would just kept saying like, okay, that guy's 22, that guy's 23, that guy's 24, that guy's undrafted. He goes, Griff was like, next year, like we have one of the biggest war chests in salary cap wise of anybody. So I'm glad that division is kind of trash at this point in time, especially once Brady exits stage left.
Especially at the quarterback position when Brady exits.
Yeah.
That whole division needs a QB. It's going to be
Yeah.
us and that whole division
Yeah.
on draft day. Like, what are you going to do, South?
Can't wait to play them. I don't think we played them. We played them last year, maybe. I forget when we played.
Let's get
the
them
division.
quick.
Let's get them.
Let's get them
Get them
quick.
back in
Cycle
the
them
hopper
in
quick.
as soon as possible.
So they got a lot of money coming their way. But on our side, the other thing that was a little bit demoralizing, because I went over there and I was waiting for him to come out, and I didn't have any heads up and Twitter or whatever. I was just looking for 99 to come out of that tunnel. And when the defensive group came out and he didn't come out,
Yeah.
and I was like, ah. And then there was, then as soon as that happened, now there was already people talking like, oh, I heard he's not playing today. I heard. It's ridiculous what people were saying. People were like, oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Career's over.
No, he's not. He's not playing for us this year, and he's gone. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, that's not how the NFL works. He's under contract for 2 more years. Plus, we have a 5th year option on him. He's number 2 overall draft pick. He's not going to be a free agent. Like,
Just because he missed calisthenics.
just because he missed calisthenics.
Damn it.
He's going to be on our team. I don't know
Take it easy.
if the only way out of town for him is a trade, and I don't see that happening anytime in the near term, anyways. So he was on the field. It sucked for a moment. Once the game started, you got a sense that I think I remember watching week 1, week 2. We had this conversation when we were watching Antonio Gibson without Brian Robertson, and we were just like, okay, I can see where Brian Robinson slots into this offense. It makes sense. It makes sense where he would make us better. I had that feeling a bunch of times on Sunday on defense because we were so close to having Chase back on the field, where you're watching, you're like, I could see, where he makes a play that maybe Smith Williams didn't make, where maybe, Tuil or one of these guys didn't make. But he ain't out there. So we got our guys. I don't know. I'm not a rumor mill guy. All I know is he's on our active. He didn't play. So whether he plays or not for the rest of the season, who freaking knows? It was a big letdown not seeing him run out of that tunnel. But I thought we played our game on defense with the guys that we've been bringing on every Sunday anyways. And and from a standpoint of in the stadium, there was no negativity towards Chase at all. Not that there ever should be, or you'd think so, but people start to
there
get
is.
rattled.
There is.
I didn't hear any of it. I didn't see any of it, and I was glad about that. A lot of number 99s.
I was going to say, that's because when a guy like Derek Force is out there running around,
Yes.
Jamin Davis making every freaking play, Cam Curl, like, we got guys flying around there. We don't need to be talking about who's not there. Let's talk about who is there.
That's a good one.
Exactly.
If
I mean,
AGH, if that's
God.
I was very disappointed. Look, no one's a bigger Chase guy than me. Went to my high school, right? I mean, I want him to be as successful, if not more than anybody else. And I was disappointed when I found out the news. But as you just said, once the game started, I didn't think about him.
No.
Because of the way the guys that were on the team and on the field and the way
Yeah.
they were playing.
well, it's
made
the
me
rumor
proud.
mill because coming back from an ACL and he doesn't play, and you start to think like, I was standing next to a security guard on the field, and I was like, "Did you see number 99 come out?" And the guy, and he was just like, "No, He goes, "I didn't know if he was. I was looking for him too. He was wearing, the FedEx security," and I was like, "Dude," and he goes, "I heard, he might have got it. He might have aggravated." And as soon as he said that, I was like, "All right, here we go." Everyone's speculating now. John Keim said he was ill. It was terrible weather. I mean, you don't send your kid out in a 40-degree downpour. And if he's already sick, that would be the best case scenario, really, for me, if that's true.
We said we'd put him out there when he was ready, and,
Yep.
and say he was ready on paper heading into this week. Then he got sick, and we're playing on in that mess. That's okay not to be ready last week, and And everyone, like Greg Martin said, we've heard a ton this week about the terrible surface at Giant Stadium, like that.
That's what, Greg
I
Martin
know.
said,
I saw him say that, and then I've read it everywhere. And then we had to release a statement, I guess today, saying that will have nothing to do, no bearing upon. So, maybe he's right there, but I don't. You know how this town likes to start talking. He's going to be just fine. And
remember what they were saying about Curtis Samuel, though? Everybody, the naysayers.
I defended Curtis Samuel.
We all did
over and over, and so do you guys right here.
Almost the whole board.
I know everyone.
He's the man.
Almost. There's a few people on that board that were very angry at Mr. Samuel, and I said he's so tough. He's tough as shit.
By the way, the announcer at the stadium kept calling him Curtis Samuels.
Yeah.
On the loudspeaker.
You can't have an extra S.
I'm like,
Samuel. It's Curtis Samuel.
Dude, it's your. This is a pet peeve of ours. The name is written in front of him. It's on a piece of paper sitting in front of him, and he keeps saying Curtis Samuels. The other thing to report. I've walked that field a million times, been on it before games, after games, and it
in
was
your PJs.
In my
Just
PJs,
go ahead, baby.
in my PJs. I was impressed.
Hopefully not in Kevin's PJs.
I was impressed.
No, not in Kevin's
He was
PJs.
impressed.
I was impressed that it was the softest.
Here we go.
Most cushiony feel of that field I've ever felt in 20 years. And I like I said, I walked on it when I was like, this is concrete. This is
Firm and
painted
trimmed,
concrete.
firm and trimmed.
It was.
Very
It wasn't.
well.
I wouldn't say it was
Lush.
It was lush. It was.
It was lush.
It was amazing.
Manicured.
It was like it was like the backyard.
Firm and manicured.
Ready for traversing.
Just how you like
Anywhere you want to go.
Yep.
I thought it was noticeable to me because you guys, we've all heard the stories and I've firsthand reported it. They painted that field.
Yeah.
And this is late November, early December. This is the time when it's in its worst shape. It's been played on for 2-3 months and there's no coming back. You're not growing grass in DC at this point going forward. You would have had to have grown it in September and October, which is coincidentally what they did not do for RG3 in the playoffs. So anyways, I thought that was noticeable and noteworthy. I've been a huge critic of the field, and everyone has, the players have, the union has, rightfully so. I actually thought it was, you watch on TV and you see these guys get suplexed into the ground, and you think it's bad enough to get suplexed, but into a hard ground. I think we could get suplexed into that ground. I say it might be almost a pleasurable experience. Best thing I can say about FedEx Field, it was a shitty experience otherwise for the most part. I can say they haven't gotten really game day better over the years. That was when I first came back in about 4 years since the Mark Sanchez incident.
Oh.
I know. I'm sorry. FedEx will be excited to see the end of the FedEx era. The day they announced the sale.
FedEx will be excited to see the end of it.
Oh,
Get the hell out of here. We're terrible.
That stadium will be. I kept wondering,
I am a terrible
will they make
stadium.
this into something else? And I'm like, no. This is getting imploded.
Remember the theory?
Blown up.
That all they have to do is put a roof on it, and it'll become a FedEx hub because of all the entrances in and out, where they can bring like they knew this was going to be a failure years ago. Like, we'll just roof it and hub it.
It would be so great because Dan
at all the
Snyder, the only
access.
thing he wanted to do for the last 20 years is put a roof on FedEx Field so they could get like Final Fours and Olympics and World Cups and the only thing. I mean, he tried forever. There was famously
His goal was a Super Bowl, right? I mean,
well,
that's what he
yes,
wants.
but in order to get any of this stuff, he needed a roof to sell to the league. So there was a steel worker, a guy who owned one of the biggest steel companies in the area, and he used to pound beers at Hard Times Cafe in Bethesda, where a certain somebody and some buddies spent 4 or 5 or 6 days a week. Guy starts talking on an afternoon to this guy, which became a story on Hawks Haven, which got a lot of attention. He's like, we just put a bid in. We've been, engaged by the team to create the steel superstructure that would support a roof at FedEx, right? And part of that initial removal of seats from the top, when they first started, when they went from like 93,000 seats to like 85, and they took out a couple spots up top, ostensibly that was for the steel superstructure that would support a roof. I know. This is a whole conspiracy. So we put a story on Hawks Haven. We're like, hey, this is great. Anonymous source. We're getting a steel roof, or we're getting a roof, and we're gonna get Final Fours. We're gonna get Taylor Swift concerts. We're gonna get World Cup events. We're gonna get Super Bowls. The whole 9 yards. It's all coming to FedEx.
Eastern Steel.
Eastern Steel.
We'll put that roof on.
So, come to find out, a guy who worked for Yahoo, he was the beat reporter for the NFL for Yahoo, also a Bethesda guy, comes to Hard Times. 2 weeks later, we're sitting there. Oh, Hogs Haven. Oh, Yahoo. Beer. He was like, yeah, that was my buddy's father. He got fired. Redskins like blew up everything. Like basically, like how in the world did this story get out? They didn't on Hogs Haven know this. I mean, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? He's like he got fired from like he's doing just fine. I mean, he was doing well, but all that happened. And it was all about the shittiness of FedEx Field and all the ways they tried to make it work and all the Dan Snydering of it all. Like instead of saying yes, this is what we're trying to do, what happened? They fired people. They got people fired, and they were like, Hogs Haven has no idea what they're talking about. We would never put a roof on this place. Even though everyone was like, you've been telling everybody you want a roof for the last 5 years.
So you're saying it all fell on Hard Times?
It fell on Hard Times.
It fell on Hard Times.
It did.
All of it. Blame it
the
all
same
on-
guy that makes the statues. Okay, let's talk about that. You guys have
Statue time.
Let's talk about statues. With Benjamin in the room,
Can you
you
call it
guys
a
start.
statue?
No, it's not a statue.
It's my number one reason why I'm mad. I
Yes.
wanted this man to have a statue. Forget about what it is or it isn't or whatever the hell's going on. How about we just do a statue?
A statue.
Like just do a freaking statue like we're supposed to do of his likeness, looking mean and nasty, and everyone knows what that presence felt and looked like. Just do a statue.
It was an Under Armour mannequin.
It was a hat rack. They put a hat rack under glass.
Wires.
It was a Nike jersey or Adidas jersey, Reebok pants. The soccer
Adidas,
cleats I have no problem with,
legit.
even though they weren't his soccer
The
cleats.
gloves and the soccer cleats were like
Okay.
But listen, man, we could have done that. We could have sat in this
Put
basement
it on Benjamin.
with only materials used in this home.
That's right.
First Amendment, with only materials used in this home, build a memorial to Sean Taylor. We would have been like, ta-da! It would have been the
Put a
same
helmet,
shit.
his jersey.
We have it
right now. We could.
No, forget about that. There's wire. There's a jersey. There's a 21 jersey. There's wire. There's pair of pants, and there's got to be some soccer cleats in this bad boy.
Yeah, there is.
I imagine there's gloves. We could do that shit right here, like a DIY, like one of these contests. Is there another podcast company that could do that in their home? I don't think so. Ken has actually got all kinds of shit. Like he's one of the very few people whose house we could build that from.
Yeah.
But we could build that here. So I don't want to be like, oh, and maybe, and I know his sister, daughter, whatever, man.
I like J-Dub's comment. The family came out in support of some of the things they did,
yes.
and
So I'm
that's
good with
that's
that.
an important aspect of the whole
I
thing
agree.
because they got done wrong.
If they're happy, I'm happy.
I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for them,
Right.
and I'm happy with them. But as a fan, on the fan side, and having lived through the many ways in which this team has done every possible, they never miss an opportunity to F something up. Like they're like, if we do this, okay, let's do it. And they never miss a chance. And so, like,
They're
don't call it a
very
statue.
They're
They're
very
providing a
polite.
roadmap. In fact,
They're
a
very
complete
nice.
opposite of what the next owner should do. Just do everything
Sure.
completely opposite.
Easy playbook.
It
of
really
what
is.
they did.
It really
It's
is.
easy
And you
playbook.
will be
Oh, statue at the
so
new
loved.
stadium of Sean Taylor.
Oh my
Okay.
But think about how
Jesus.
you guys have been around some of the most amazing, iconic players of our area, right? Like imagine if you did like a statue of Lawrence Moten, and you have it's the wide shoulder pads and the gold shoes and the iconic. You could take without the helmet, it's iconic. Look at our basketball players. I mean, even though I know none of us went to Gonzaga, but at this point in time, if you wanted to do Caleb Williams at some point, you at least got something to work with. Sean Taylor had something to work with. He had the face that was unmistakable. The hair just amazing.
The tape fingers.
The tape fingers. You
on
could
a
have done,
bronze on the statue.
You could have done the one with it was
out
on his
there.
knee. You could do the one hunched over. You could do all of it.
Anything.
And
He
then
had
all of it
mitts.
would
He had the best hands ever too. I mean, he caught everything that came near him. Like the idea that it would just be like
Imposing size and all that.
like
They
a
missed it.
Halloween
They missed the
costume
boat.
for like a.
I mean, they hung a jersey behind glass. I mean, I love
On a rack.
On a rack. Any way you pay respect to Sean Taylor, I'm with. But like, for God's sake, like this is their second chance.
Sean Taylor looked way better than that in uniform.
Yes,
That's all I'm
and they could
saying.
have for like nothing. Even just do a plaster statue. Like, or you know
It'd
how
be
many
better- it
local
would be
artists
better-
would have like.
What do we do?
It's like
It'd have been better to do it without the wire and just like hung the jersey and
Yes.
some of the things and the cleats.
I
and,
thought they
like,
were going to
make
do some
it a
like
memorial more than
holographic
a
thing. I thought they were going to
statue.
beam his face onto it or something. Like that would have been cool.
Put a picture.
But it was not even that.
Put a picture up. Something.
It was I didn't want to be super negative about it, but it's so dumb.
I know.
It's so dumb. Like someone had to be like, yeah. Like, what are you two talking about, you idiots? Like, this is Sean Taylor. Give him the baddest ass statue. This is Sean Taylor. This isn't the fall line of the new uniform thingy. This is Sean Taylor. It was worse than that. It was worse than at least McLaurin and Chase were out there physically. Like, you know what I mean? Like the likeness. You didn't. We all know what didn't happen.
And his
done.
family was 100% class. By the way, they were 100% class when this team screwed it up last time. You know, and they posed for the picture in front of the Porta Johns with Dan Snyder on Sean Taylor Way last time. They showed up after being notified 3 days in advance that we're going to honor your family member because we're trying to distract the world from our terribleness. They have been nothing but class. They were nothing but class when he got to the league. When he passed away, the whole time, the Taylor family and everyone associated with the Taylor family, nothing but class. This time they were nothing but class too. Defending because now it's not that they're not together with the team, right? But they became a little bit more of a face of the honoring of Sean Taylor, which was so great to have Jackie on the field. She is so cool. I didn't get a chance. I never had a chance to talk to her, meet her, but again, class. Whenever she had a chance to talk about it, she didn't talk about, oh, I love this team. She's like, no, my dad would have loved the soccer kids.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
just being like a cool person
A
about
positive person in
Yes.
the face of adversity when they have every right to sit there and bitch and moan and complain and all the rest of us would understand it. But instead, they took the high road. We get the W, and things are starting to feel like they're changing a little bit with a defensive goal line stand on Sean Taylor Day in front of all these people on a rainy, cold afternoon that all of a sudden we didn't have all of our best guys out there. And we would have lost this game year in, year out, and we didn't. We didn't because Jerron Payne deflected the ball and Kendall Fuller made an outward diving, tremendous catch. So maybe this is part of the new attitude coming in here, and maybe listening to young Jackie say what she liked about it as opposed to saying that terrible ass wire fraud of a thing needs to be rectified at the new stadium.
Yeah.
Right front smack dab in the middle. So whoever the new owner is, understand what just happened this past weekend and write that down. We're talking about the game plan for new ownership. An unbelievably classy statue of the man, number 21,
Can I, guys,
at the new place. Out front.
going through
when you
this
see
whole
it when you walk
process
in.
about Sean Taylor and how they screwed up the statue, the cool conversations I was a part of, not just at the field on Sunday, but on different text chains and whatever since, is how easy it could be for a billionaire guy to, he's just be like, make a statue, and make it of him, with the taped up this and the eye black and the hair and the icon and the big shoulder pads and you know what you're getting. Just make it right. Doing that and saying, oh yeah, also do it for John Riggins and
The Hogs.
Charles Mann and the Hogs and Ken Houston and Charlie Taylor,
The Smurfs.
and the Smurfs. I mean, like you could have a
Fun
statue park.
Joe Gibbs. We're
Joe
going to have an
Gibbs.
R hat on top of a hanger, like a droopy ass yellow coaching shirt and tiny little booty shorts.
Just little teeny things. Like there's a place out front of FedEx, and thankfully it won't be FedEx for long. But there's a place outside of any stadium where an owner. I mean, if you order one statue, however much it costs you for one, imagine if you just asked for 25, and every single week for your first home game to your 50th home game, the new owner it says, you know what, we have enough people that people love.
Dexter Manley.
Yeah.
Charles Mann.
Dave Butts,
Dave
who
Butts.
just passed away. Art Monk, Daryl Green.
Little places at the stadium to honor these guys
For
and their
goodness
stuff.
sake, it's like the easiest. By the way, I'm a grade A moron, and if I have this idea, someone who's getting paid $1 million a year should be able to do that idea to the T. Again, it's stroking a check and saying, make me 50 statues, and we're gonna roll them out over the next 10 years, and show up because people, we love Sean Taylor, and I had a chance to think a lot about it, and I know you guys have too. And I've been, he was here for a hot second hot second. There's been such great players who deserve to be honored in a similar way. The thing that made Sean Taylor, one of the things that just makes Sean Taylor such a hot button thing is the moment that he was taken from us was at the moment when he was when he was the best player on the field when he stepped on it. That doesn't happen, and that is the name of the game. People are like, well, what he was there for 3 years, 4 years, blah blah blah. Yeah, but he was taken from us when he stepped on the field on Sunday. He was the best player on the field, no matter who was on the field at that exact moment. So, but they could do so much to make us as fans and all the tens of thousands of people happy by doing that right. Because what they really did on Sunday, there wasn't a whole big thing on the field. I was out there. There was nothing on the field. They had some stuff on the big screen here and there, but it was all took place on the concourse when they unveiled the statue. They could do that every week in a place where fans could pay homage to a new guy that we all loved. And there's no shortage of them. This franchise is freaking great. It's been great forever. Decades and decades and decades of greatness. There's no shortage of statues you could make. And we should have a statue park.
Last 25 years will be bleak.
Yeah, no, but you still throw a London Fletcher up there. You'd still throw
at the front of it.
Absolutely. There's still guys. You still throw a Chris Samuels.
Coolio get a little love in there.
Yeah, there's no. You could find guys to put up there. But
Trent, if he would come back.
Yeah, that's where it gets dicey.
It gets dicey. But there's 50 guys. I mean, we have a 75 greatest Redskins. We have an 80 plus now, right? I mean, we're up to 90, right?
I think it's
Something
90.
like that. So there's no shortage of ways to appeal to us. And you know what? The problem for Dan Snyder is he can't. There's no squeeze in that. There's no juice in that squeeze for him. Making a statue. That's what an owner does who loves the team and loves the fan base. He can't charge us for that. So therefore, he's not going to do it right.
Well, that means the statue of Jack Kent Cooke is coming because what we didn't know, retroactively, he became the greatest owner in Redskins football history. And at the time, he owned us. Michael Wilbon's quoted as saying he's not only the greatest owner in NFL football, he's the greatest owner in professional sports, which back then he was a bit of a knucklehead guy, but he took some chances and he had winners. He won with the Lakers, he won with us, and he did it the right way, I think, from all I understand with not having Twitters and on the social media.
He did it the right way in terms of Joe Gibbs came into his office and said,
"Let me get out of the way.
I need these guys." And
There's no documentary on him.
He was like, "Yeah, exactly. Here's my wine. Here's my. I love these grapes and my favorite wine." And Joe Gibbs was probably like, "Yeah, okay. Can I please get? I just want Wilbur Marshall. Can we just get him? He seems super cool, and this new free agency thing seems awesome.
Let's dip our toes.
Can we just get him?
If Bobby Beathard and Joe Gibbs rolled into the office and asked him for something, they got it. That's just not the way our franchise is set up right now with Dan Snyder. So, but the next owner, I mean, again, to your point, T, these are easy things to get right for the next guy.
Oh, yeah. It was more Snyder going into the coach's office saying, I want this guy, and I'm going to get him for you. And the coach is going, okay.
You want to pay how much for that guy?
Please don't.
I've got it.
By the way, we already offered him a contract.
Next owner, statue of Snyder. Week 1, new stadium. We dip him into the volcano of shame. And the place goes nuts.
We
just melt it right in front of everyone. Right in front of everyone. We dip it into something, and everyone. The place goes batshit. We win, right?
Yeah, NES Tecmo. You're right. The Laker doc doesn't paint him in the best light, but
but that's someone's creative control, and
That's true.
I'm sure he chapped a lot of asses. You don't get to where you get that way coming from Canada.
You're not
and being
a nice guy.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
So
a nice
he
guy.
deserves whatever he gets.
And
I'm
he
not
gave us.
saying
And he
best
gave us
owner in sports doesn't mean anything to do with what type of human being you are. I mean,
enough.
and it's also someone else's opinion, not mine. So, but I'm just saying he won back in the day in the NBA and the NFL. Not a lot of dudes are pulling that, and the CFL and NHL. He had his hand in everything, and he won everywhere he went. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think of all the things he did in terms of just being an owner who wants bottom line winning, right? He didn't give the team to his son. He forced Snyder on us with his own actions at the end.
But he did name a city Raljon for a brief time.
He renamed a town.
There's a whole, and it's the worst combination of two first names ever. It's
Ralph and John.
In the era of great
That's what we do.
combinations
We
of
got the
names
car.
and couples and Benifer, and I'm taking it back to the old school, but they're back together, so it's cool now. Yeah, Raljon, John Ral. I guess it just doesn't. There's
Joe
no
Ray?
real- Ralphie.
Raja?
Daddy's
Raja.
gonna kill Ralphie. I don't know. It's gonna be
Rajon.
tough. I know this. What are Snyder's kids' names? Because it was about to get super ugly out there again. But now we don't have to worry about that, hopefully. Come March of the 23rd.
So 7-5, playoffs started right now. The entire NFC East would be involved in the playoff situation. I think it's fair to suggest we've got a lot of infighting coming up in the NFC East. We have 2 games against the Giants, obviously. The Eagles and Cowboys bang up against each other another time or two. So probably won't finish that like that. And I don't think we're approaching this in terms of we got to catch the Eagles or we got to catch the Cowboys. At this point, it's overtake the Giants and you're in the playoffs.
It's Giants, and the Giants got the Eagles in between us, so that's a big deal for them. They're up
Yep.
against it right now. So we're hyper-focused on Giants by Giants, and they got to deal with 3 NFC East games in 3 weeks and some injuries. And I really like the idea of us heading in there the way we're playing. If we can go steal one at their place, sit out for a week while they tussle with the Eagles, who we're not in any involvement with. We just have the best win in the history, the best win in the NFL this season.
Correct.
That's it. That's fine. Let them go about their business. We don't want to catch them. I mean, of course, we'd like to, but
Sure.
we don't want them to come back. This conference is
Let
too
him fly away.
good. I'd like to catch the Giants really quick.
Well, we beat them this week. We caught them, and we
And then
passed
they
them.
got Philly,
Yep.
and then we got them at home. They're looking at their season here. It's all boiling down. The pressure is on the Giants.
The pressure's on the Giants. This is exactly opposite. By the way, before I would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody we're in a big push, Christmas push for subscribers. Everybody, dig deep and hit that subscribe button all the way down to the bottom of your mouse and click on that subscribe button. We appreciate it.
Also, wash the bottom of your mouth.
Also, wash your muff. If you hear anything you like after this, don't judge us by anything we've said so far tonight. Okay, listen, that'll just be practice.
Especially the last 30 seconds.
That'll be the practice part of our podcast. From here on out and going forward, from this moment in time, if you hear anything you like, click the thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, I have no idea what happens if you do that. I'm guessing in a holiday season, you're visited by some ghosts. Hopefully they're wearing their PJs. I just want to say that
One way or another, it's going to be a bony Christmas.
it's going to be a super bony Christmas. And that is a fact. Do, from the board,
Wash your boner. Wash your boner.
If folks on the board want to ring in on this one, and I'll let you guys take a turn or two.
Why do you
Is
make
there
me do
any
this?
gamesmanship that you see as does it have a place? Is warranted or is it not? Playing the Giants twice in a row for us. Is there anything you're not doing in game 1 because you're saving it for game 2? Is there anything you're trying because we need this win? We don't want to get cute about it.
I think they're going to wash their entire grundle from ass to muff and everywhere in between, and just go out and run the ball. And I don't think they're trying to hide that. They didn't hide it the last few
You
weeks.
might want to hide that, T.
No, I
I'm just
think
saying.
they're gonna-
I don't even.
they're gonna
I
lay it all
hide it.
out
I'm
there,
hiding it.
fresh
hiding
and
it.
clean, and say this is what we're doing.
I don't
Is there a
know.
man wash company that
I
wants
think
to
that's the
AGH, how many times
Toast
can
a
That's
few
the only way
bucks?
they can win.
a couple more subscriptions from you would be great. I don't know where to go. T doesn't see any need to hide either his muff or his grundle, and I don't
Wash
know.
it all.
It's
and just-
clean at
and
least.
just-
It is clean. We all appreciate
Hey,
that.
and they're coming clean.
Martin's
They're gonna run.
dead.
They're gonna run.
Where's Magic Peach's shirt and pants?
Oh, Craig.
I can't get that out of my how many times do you want me to subscribe, Ken? AGH wants to know.
Please,
Oh, God.
just keep subscribing.
Watch that line of scrimmage and hit subscribe.
All
Oh,
right,
God.
so we got
Run
we
the
got-
ball.
We got that. We're going to run the ball. We're going to try to. So I think the comparison between Mariota and Jones, I think Jones is athletic. I think he can do a lot, but I don't think he's Mariota in terms of a running quarterback.
No, but he runs it up our butt all the damn time, doesn't he?
runs it up on everybody.
But no, Jones.
Yeah, that's my point.
Jones has his best 2 rushing games of his career against us, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He has just absolutely played lights out against us and beat us when he didn't beat anyone. So that's been annoying. But now he's beaten everyone, so I think now it's time to turn the tables and take care of this guy because he's not. His numbers are worse than Heineke's as far as production, and he has won them a couple games. He has won a couple games with them, but
He has a great record against us.
I know he does.
I don't understand
I don't
it.
either.
I mean, we've made him look so much better. I mean, he's looked great this year. We've made him look as great as he's been this year in his better moments. We've made him look like that throughout his terrible career in New York prior to this year.
But Duran, Montez, and Catman and them, I think they might have something up their sleeve, especially if Ridgeway is playing with James Smith and old Chase he wants to make his debut, perhaps. This would be a nice guy to run down on a 3rd down play for Chase to kickstart us. Can you imagine the boost that we would get if he comes in and makes a play like that?
No, I think the formula against him is to keep him contained, but to put the pressure on him, force him to make, off balance, quick decision throws, and he gets himself in trouble.
Yep.
You let him get out of the pocket, he's athletic enough to have a 60-yard run. You can't do that.
You guys have watched our front four. I think the one thing that I've noticed about our front four more than anything else, our front four, not when we're at running extra guys, but our front four, not many quarterbacks have gotten out of the pocket. Not many quarterbacks are trying to get out of the pocket. They're trying to get rid of the ball in 2.1 seconds. There's very little. I mean, except on bootlegs. Like I could just be biased. I mean, I do watch a lot of games. So do you guys. I don't see teams even bootlegging a lot against us because of the manner in which our defensive ends are setting the edge. Because you can't one-on-one both Allen and Payne. You just can't. So
you want to turn your back on Montez
Sweat?
you're going to have both
Sweat,
of those guys
Payne,
are going to get
and Allen.
Yeah, you can't do it.
All 3 of them are playing the best football they've ever played.
Yeah,
True. At
right
the same
now.
time.
I'm not knocking the other guys on the other end, but they're playing the best football they've ever played. It's just they're not the elite athlete that Chase is. And if Chase can come in and provide more there, Jesus.
Especially heading down the stretch here and let him get a
Jesus.
couple games under his belt and maybe catch his breath a little bit. I mean, I might as well. I was just saying this as it comes up on the board, and I'm getting excited about all the fun that comes along with winning.
Yeah.
All the stuff. I wasn't here last week, so when Antonio Gibson comes up all mic'd up over to Taylor Heineke and says, I don't want to say nothing, but in the huddle, man, you smell like shit. Did you guys talk about this last week?
No.
Have you seen the clip from
Yes.
last week?
Yes.
All right. You smell like shit. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you might want to get the butt cream for your ass. And I was like, we've known this. I get emails for it somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But we've known this. We've known you got to wash your ass.
I've been
We've
saying
said
these
it.
emails.
We've said the board knows it.
We've said it.
We've talked about it. That obviously, if Antonio Gibson is mentioning it to Taylor Heineke, we know that that's a gigantic part of it.
I once thought
the gig.
that wash your ass when we first uttered those words was it didn't have any place, but it has a place.
Oh, it was a battle cry.
It was a battle cry. It still is. It still is.
But when I forgot to wash mine that week,
Yeah.
and we lost, I couldn't. I was
know.
like, what do I do?
I know.
No, now how many times do I have to wash it or not wash it? I don't even know what to do.
It's a thing, but
I've made
that
it a daily
Luminate
routine.
or whatever it's called. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's the way you. It's like it's
Yeah, it's a
your
weird
stink level.
commercial.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
some lady in her cell phone camera being like,
Yeah, she's like, come here, you just go like this. And
Without
then you just rub it all in there and it's fine.
she's
And
like,
then-
I'll show
I'm
you
like,
how to
oh,
apply it. And she's like,
Jesus.
just kidding. I'm like, what?
I know.
She's crazy. Then I'm like, I bet you people are buying this by the gallon. They're like, oh, I don't have to shower. I just have to rub some stuff in my butt crack.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, okay.
So Gibson
Technology is
just
great.
felt
Don't
like
like that.
telling
Do not
Taylor-
like that.
He knew they were mic'd up. It was during the game last week, and he decided to drop. He decided to drop that knowledge. What was the topic we were on before I sidetracked over to the butt cream?
About Antonio Gibson. talking about Taylor Heineke. I think
Beast
that
playing beasts. I don't know. And then you just
we're talking about the defensive line. We're talking about how our guys don't get bootlegged on by the opposing quarterback.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Not the bootleg part. I was also getting in the Brian Robinson part. The,
Yep.
the big hat part I saw mentioned. I just
Yep.
wanted to
The
mention it
fun.
before we got out of there.
The caps and the Nats wearing the big hats.
It's just all of it is it's so great. I mean, it's so Rick Moranis, Lord Helmet.
It is Lord Helmet.
That I can't get enough of it. I feel like Rick Moranis should definitely. Someone should send one to Rick Moranis. It would be amazing. Is there a chance he's a fan of one of the local sports teams? Hopefully, the Commanders.
Whatever you guys do, the private dancing chat girls thing, we don't work with them. They're
Yeah.
not part of our organization. So if you click on that,
Every time we talk about big helmets, they come out of nowhere.
it is, dude. It is shocking. We talked about wash your ass,
Big head.
tease Grundle and his muff,
Yeah.
and the big
Line of scrimmage.
big hat, and right away we get dancing girls in a private chat room. Do not click on that. If you think you're going to be directly connected to T in any way whatsoever, that's a whole different OnlyFans site, and I highly recommend you go to the T OnlyFans site. So, all right. So before we get all the way to the Giants, let's just continue to celebrate a little bit of our 7-5-ness. I think taking a step back, 7-5. It's kind of like you think your kid is cute and everyone else is like, really? Situation because we're making 7-5 out to be
What
big.
about the 5 and 7 kids?
I
man?
understand.
Jesus
No.
Christ.
I
Ugly
understand.
sons of
I'm
bitches.
talking like now we're in the conference. Now we're able to get excited, but now we're getting talked down to by Bills fans and Eagles fans and Cowboys fans and people who are like Vikings fans. For God's sake, I don't know what they have.
Screw
to be
you.
excited about.
We're enjoying our
Understood.
shit.
Understood. But I think our 7-5 record, what I said at the top of the show, is deceiving. It's a deceiving record.
I'm not rubbing it
We've
in anybody's
had
face.
records that were deceiving the other way in years past. I remember Jim Zornier when we were 6-2.
Are we the deceivers now?
We might be the deceivers.
Jesus.
Sean, what's up, buddy? And Toro.
DCEI. Never mind.
Do you remember when we were 6-2 under Jim Zorn? This is what I was thinking about earlier today. 6-2, Jim Zorn.
Hip hip.
We're going to the playoffs, everybody. I believe we finished that season 2-8.
Can you get me an ice cream? I remember that. I
you
wanted
get me
that.
an ice cream?
That guy was about as.
I just remember middle of years.
All he was missing was Lassie.
All of us when we looked
ahead,
at our
boy.
team and we thought we were better than we were. I think 7-5 is a great record for us because I think it allows us to continue sneaking up on people. I think people still don't get what we're all about, and I think there are certainly fans out there. I know the Giants offensive defensive coordinators. They're watching every second, and they're going to understand exactly what we're up to. But I think the general sports fan, the people that we interact with at the bars and our friends and people who aren't watching, I don't think they get that 7-5 doesn't tell the whole story about this team. The 2 winning streaks now in an NFL season, that's hard to do. It's not like a basketball season or a baseball season when you can go 10-5 and then it's like, yes. And you can do that 3 or 4 times a year. In the NFL, 2 winning streaks of 3 or 4 or more games each, that's a big deal.
Dare I say, 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Yes.
Oh,
I like it.
oh, I said it. It's because we had 6 Carson Wentz. You guys got it. You got it.
I do
Anyways,
like it. I do like it.
2-4 to 5-1.
2-4 to
That's-
5-1. A couple different winning streaks and with
A total different game plan.
and the commitment now to Heineke, which could have been, if you think about this, think about the stories of quarterback calisthenics over the years, just stretching out to put this guy in and take this guy out and arguing it, should this guy play or should that guy play? Is it time to play this guy? Is this guy healthy? And it's a big deal. Think about that. We're paying a guy $28 million to be our prototypical 29-year-old veteran, possibly franchise
For
quarterback.
calisthenics.
For calisthenics. That's all he's doing is calisthenics. And no one batted an eye.
not even doing
no
that
one,
right now.
I know.
No
He's
one's
doing
like
that right now.
No one. There's no explosive event about it. We're just like, yeah, of course. Taylor Heineke is our quarterback now. Let's just move forward that way. That's who this team is. And it's,
We're two,
Well,
we're
you
two
said-
picks and 1 quarter away from
Yes.
Carson Wentz being our quarterback.
Of course. No, he'll be back.
I know.
It was interesting when
Unfortunately.
you said, the Giants, DC and OC, they're getting, they're doing everything they can to come back. I think any opposing coach and team right now, when they're coming up against our Skins, they're going shit because they're going to have to earn a win.
Gonna be bruised.
and it's going to hurt. I don't think there's really going to be a blowout. There isn't going to be a we figured out a formula that is the formula. We're going to make
Blocking
it
and
hard as
tackling.
shit for you to win, and we're going to score just enough to be in it, and our defense is going to play well enough to prevent you from getting away. And it's going to be a bitch. And I think coaches and players and from other teams, that's the way they're looking at us right now.
And yes, EO, if we get to 5,000 subs, everyone who's on this board right now gets a big hat.
5,000 subs.
5,000. We're at 4,200 subs right now. So if we get to 5, that's 800 subs. But if we get there this season, you guys are getting big
You know
hats.
what they say about guys that wear big hats.
I sure do.
All right. Just saying.
The
Big closets? I don't know.
the other part about being on the field, super huge hat, extra sturdy hat racks.
I mean, this can't become a thing, really.
I can't wait to get mine for
I
Christmas.
can't wait to get mine for Christmas
Mine is
either.
in or out.
I love it. Oh, nice.
God.
I mean, the other the thing about being at the stadium, the two thumpers on this defense, and there's more than two, but if you want to hear bones cracking and if you want to see things with your own eyes that does not translate through a TV screen, I don't think sometimes it's the way Derek Forrest connects with a guy and lately Jamin Davis. The way those two guys make contact with the opposing player, it is for real. Derek Forrest has a rep, and he does it, and we watch him, and he's physical, and he makes tackles, and he's having a great
Cincinnati
season.
guys, man.
But he hits, and when he's like a boxer, right? Like I don't understand how he doesn't get hurt on some of these, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like he hits so hard that like you think he should be hurt. At least as much as the guy he
Badass.
just hurt.
The two of them in their second year playing like this, now, people are starting to whisper a little bit about it, but guys, like the rebuild is all we've talked about. This year we had circled, and that's why we were super pissed in the first month of September. All of a sudden we're looking around and we're seeing all these guys, homegrown guys that we drafted in this era, this Rivera's era.
The Rivera.
Guys that we were bringing are starting to step up to a level that we're like, hold on. These are our guys. These weren't guys we
Yes.
signed off the street and paid an exorbitant amount of money to. These are guys that we researched. We researched their character. We wanted to find out about them. We wanted the locker room to be okay. And now look at them. They're producing. They're starting to step up and play in a way that you look for your sophomore jump. They always talk about it in the NFL. The rookie year is 1 year, but that sophomore year jump, you make it or you don't. You've been around 16, 18 months. You're in or you're out. Like they know. They chew you up and spit you out in this league better than any. And we're
'Cause there's
starting to
somebody
see
else coming along.
exactly, and we're starting to see our guys flourish. Our guys, and I hope Benjamin St. Juste is all right. But
Me too.
Our guys are starting to really, really shine, and that's so cool to me. In a short era, you have guys for a couple years.
There's configurations of this defense that are possible that could be all guys we drafted or signed
It's so
undrafted.
cool.
There's
so
ways you could do it. And after
cool.
next year, it could be all of them.
So cool.
You were
I love
bitching
it.
before we went on about college basketball and how there isn't this. You can't follow anybody for more than
I
a
was.
year. You can't really get attached to it. You can't really go on. I can see how we're all getting a little bit attached to some of these guys, getting a little bit attached
Hell yeah.
maybe to Jamin Davis because it looks like he's starting to become a pro. No, I get it, and that's what we had as kids, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing a little bit now. And again, I think Rivera's rising again to the top. He just keeps kicking, and he just keeps
Doesn't he?
like cream. He just keeps
So
rising to the top and keeping his head above water. And then eventually, all of us kind of look around and go, "I think he kind of knew what he was doing all along."
I think so too, T. And think about this: we're going to get a new owner, right? They're going to come in the off season, and they're going to take over this franchise. And a couple months ago, I may have been of the mind to think, and I'm guilty of it. I had a moment where I was like, hey, listen, if someone spends $7 billion on this team and they spend another 5 or 6 plus billion dollars to build a new stadium at RFK, if they get rid of Ron Rivera, I can't let that be something that turns me against this new person. Today, my thought is, if you take over this team, you can change a lot. You can get rid of Jason Wright. You can get rid of the scouts. You can get rid of FedEx. You can get rid of a lot of the things that have been associated with the terribleness of Dan Snyder. But I don't see how in the first year that you get rid of Ron Rivera. I think at the bare minimum you say, hey, listen, Ron, here's the deal. Like I bought this team. Like you can't go to Jonathan Allen and Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson now and some of these Deron Payne and some of these other guys and be like, hey guys, I'm firing the coaching staff, because they're going to be like, but really, like, this is what we're doing. Like, this is who we are. Like, you can't change out 53 new guys because now if you change out Ron Rivera, you're changing our 53 in some meaningful way of who they are, of what they do, of what they're about. I think in year one of this new owner, I think it has to be Ron Rivera. You can maybe ask him to make some changes elsewhere, but it has to be Ron Rivera. And what's more, the cool article that came out this week about this coaching staff, and it was an interesting article because it was a national perspective. It was about Scott Turner. He's been kind of pissed upon a little bit locally because people don't appreciate 7-5, and they thought a slow start and Carson Wentz didn't work out and blah 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 blah. Guess who's on the hot list for coordinators who the other teams in this league are taking notice of and will want? It's freaking Scott Turner. And guess who said in his exit interview from Carolina when he left amicably and said, I get it, Carolina. You want to go in a new direction. I understand. I'm going to step out of the way. But if you want a guy to be your new head coach, it's got to be that guy, Scott Turner.
Ready.
He's ready to go. And when Carolina stupidly was like, oh, no chance, we were like, come on into town.
Yeah.
We have more of it. We're going to hide that. We're going to hide that.
It's all of our filthy conversation. I think people are listening in.
Triple X site. But anyways, Scott Turner, he's on the hot list now.
Scott Turner, because the bells and whistles and the newfound, no one gives a crap unless it works. Now it's working. Put him back on the hot list.
That's right.
He was on the hot list, the hot seat list, not so long ago.
That's true.
And it is what this league offers. This is what this league begets. It's what it is. So that's why I will say this. Knowing that about the league and knowing that about Ron Rivera and what you're saying and the new ownership and whatever happens, I know that Ron Rivera, more so than any coach in this era and any coach since Joe Gibbs, previous era, left this place in a way more professional place if that were to happen to him.
Yes.
Which, that's just for argument's sake. Obviously, that's not what I think. If that were to happen, for the first time, all of a sudden, we have the foundation. We have the proper characters. We have a bunch of guys that really get along and start playing well together. We've got the talent. Like, he's going to leave someone an ability to take it to the next level if he's the guy that gets pushed aside.
Yeah.
Or he's going to do it himself, one way or the other. I'd prefer to watch him do it himself, because I also would like to apologize. After 3 years earlier this year, I was like, you know what?
It might not be working.
We're freaking 2-4. It was after the Bears game, and I was disgusted in the whole entire game. I was like, the game sucked. We suck. The Bears suck. Like, why are we still here? What are we doing? I can't believe it. This guy's full of shit. I'm done.
Yeah.
And you just got to rub a little Heineke on there. Just rub a little Heineke on the whole situation. And he'll bring his 195 yards passing and just a rack load of wins and shove them right up your butt. I mean,
Ron style.
Just give it to him Ronnie style.
So you guys have watched a million football games at every single level, professional down to Pee Wee, and in person, and so you guys know better than anyone else. Watching it with your own eyes in person is different than watching it on TV. Now, the way they bring football into your living rooms in this year, in these days, is amazing, and it's close. You can see a lot and you can know a lot. But
Man interrupt, no Manning cast because of basketball? Was that it? No Manning cast because of hoops?
I hope not.
Go ahead.
I hope not. Yeah, I know.
It wasn't out.
I know. But the Manning cast is coming back next week.
Okay. Let's get to hoops then.
You guys knowing what a difference it is watching it with your own eyes. Taylor Heineke deserves to be judged after you've had a chance to watch him in person. because I don't think TV does him justice. His 195 yards are his 195 yards. His gutsy, Taylor Heineke in this is one thing, but if you watch him take a snap and survey the field the way we watch like Tyshawn Helm or Denzel Gardner or Miles Slade or some of these, the high school guys, or at the college level when you guys watch it, you get a sense of you get a more of a sense of he knows what he's doing than you do when you watch it on TV. When you can't see what he's seeing. Like when you can have a chance to watch the field, a couple of times when he puts the ball in the air and you're watching on TV, your heart flutters and you're like, oh God, this could go a couple of different ways, because you can't see anything. But
that one interception was damn near like I felt like he threw it to like the whole student section.
It was bad. It
Who
happened.
did you think was going to catch that one, brother?
I know, and you got to see that too.
What?
You got to see that, and you would see that in person. If you were sitting in the press box in between two coaching booths, which coaching booth would be going. What the hell are you thinking?
Oh, Jesus! I get it. I get it. He's better than me at this, but I'm looking at him being my guy that I need to be good at this. It's so hard to watch that pick. I'm like, no, it has to be that one. I'm like, just how about in the first play? You just get it. And you're like,
Yeah.
P for K, and throw to the other team's middle linebacker, so we get him
quarter.
right there, and then that's your one, and then we'll move forward.
Yeah.
Because you just
Do
know
it
it's
early.
coming. It's out there. You're like,
Do it
oh
early.
God,
Get it
oh
over
God.
with.
But I would.
I love him so much too, but he's
I
just,
want to hear what you guys. I'll just put it out there. I would love to hear what you guys say, watching him, being able to see the whole field with your eyes, T, and your eyes, Kevin. Like being able to see the field because you would see it.
I haven't seen him in person other
different
than
way.
when he played at the Old Dominion, and he came and played it against Maryland.
Maryland, that's right.
So I covered that game, and he played the same way. He has a swagger. He's got a presence about him. Something you don't see when you're watching TV because you can keep watching him when the camera when he's commanding and the play's over, but he's getting the play, he's getting the guys together. I mean, there's a way about certain people on a football field, and he just has it. I mean, that's that. Let's be honest. That right now, that is the biggest thing that is carrying him to a 12-9 record as a starter, is his attitude. More than anything else.
Yeah.
It
Because
is the
it
way that
gives
he is
the other
approaching this
guys
game.
attitude.
Correct.
It's a contagious attitude.
Correct.
I think a Carson Wentz guy, a player will look at Carson Wentz and say, big, tall, strong, can throw the ball a mile. All right, let's see what happens. Like they know, they can't do it better than him.
Put Taylor Heineke's dog into a machine like that, and you've got an elite.
Hold on, now, I'm going to say that Carson Wentz is going to need that Pentium processor that I watch in Taylor Heineke. When he gets to go, Carson Wentz seems to get stuck in the middle of that game.
Look, Heineke's smart as hell.
Right.
Dude.
But his
a
feel,
smart
and he
football
also
player.
has to be, with his lack of arm strength, he
Correct.
has to be. He has to be. So he's had, not whereas the Carson Wentz can be like, all right, 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to use this old boy. He's going to be just fine. Whereas the other guy can't. And I get that. And plus, like we talked about, the opportunities. Carson Wentz is back there free throwing. Taylor Heineke is not. Every now and then he lets one go. But the bottom line is he knows how to win. He makes those plays. If you get him in the right position, he's going to produce for you. You have got to corral him and put him there and not let him make these mistakes. And you know you're going to get one, but you've got to minimize that. And as long as he does that and the coaching staff does that, then he's going to get these results. He beat 5 first-rounders. 3 of them are top 3 picks, 1 number not 1. 5 Super Bowl starters, 3 Super Bowl champs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 4 NFL MVPs, 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 5 first-team All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowlers with a combined 44 total Pro Bowls in his 12 victories. His pelt list, his J collection is getting serious. It's getting serious. And by the way, shout out to my cousin Tony Ricca, who texted me to say, you beat the Falcons. Your Jordan selection is black, white, and red. That is going to be a tough choice. He's got a bazillion options, and I enjoy his pull, but I might have just gone.
I didn't see his
threes. I might have gone with the threes, but yes. You'll see them. They're the freshies.
Are
I think
they
you got
even
the
called
fours.
the number ones? The original black and red.
Now, but he could have done that. He could have done that just fine. He could have done whatever he wanted. Those were originally
They don't
called the
even
Sky
call them
Jordans. I had them in
Sky
gray and
Jordans.
white. and I threw them away. And apparently, if I didn't throw them away, I could have refurbished them
Yes.
and sold them to some dumbass for like $550.
Yes, you could
but I
have.
did not do that.
Again, to the folks on the board who've played ball and to these guys, you know this already, but the cool thing, I got to stand on the goal line, right, as the offensive line was warming up the defensive line, and so you have, they're doing dynamic warm-ups individually, but
They were called calisthenics in '58. Go ahead.
but at the end, it got real, and you had guys going 100 versus 100. Offensive linemen warming up defensive ends for the most part, not necessarily Allen and Payne, but the D ends, the outside linebackers going up against guys. And I got to stand as far away as I am from you, T, right now, watching an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman go as hard as they could go for just two tries at each, right? Full bore, the hands, the arms, the everything, and the sound of it. First of all, the sound of it is
It would make grown men cry at the backyard bash.
it would make grown men cry with these guys when they clash, and they ride each other all the way through the end zone, and then they're broing it up. But like, holy shit! Like the contact and the strength and the violence. It's just the violence with which these two men in a warm up before a game go at each other. First of all, I was ready for this game. At that exact moment, I was like, "Oh my god! Like, we need to start right this very second. These guys are ready." I mean, 6'5", 6'6" dudes this far. I mean, I thought my life was in danger, and I was like taking a step back, and the security guard next to me was like, "Take it easy." He's like, "They're very much in control of
You want me to hold
themselves."
you, Ken?
Yeah, I was in my PJs, but let me
Just waist down, Peach.
let me give you guys a little something and give the board. And by the way, if you like what you're about to hear, feel free to throw a thumbs up there, courtesy of our boy from New Jersey. Commanders rankings since week 6. Week 6.
Nobody does it better.
Winning percentage in the NFL, 857. Good for number 1. Turnover margin in the NFL, +7. Good for first in the National Football
Holy
League.
smoly.
Time of possession margin, 706 in our favor. Good
that
for
one?
Easily.
second
Okay.
in the
That's
entire
excellent.
NFL.
You can't just be one
Who's
of
more than
everything.
that?
Points
I know,
allowed.
That's
That's
a very
more
good
than us.
question.
15.43 points per game allowed. Good for
fantastic.
third in the entire NFL. Yards allowed, 284.6 yards per game. That's good for third
Moving up from 6, baby.
in the entire
Moving on
NFL.
up.
Penalties were 5th in the league in penalties per game on the right side of that. And the 3-and-out percentage on offensive drives were 4th. We're 4th.
That makes sense because we're in 3rd and 4 60% of the time. Exactly. That's what we need.
That's why
That's what
7
we
and
need
5
to be.
is not 7 and 5. 7 and 5 is for amateurs. Is for people who don't understand how the league works. They don't understand what's going on at well past the halfway point of the season. Teams are battling injuries. They're questioning themselves identity wise. Coaches are second guessing their coordinators. That's not us. That is not us. We're 7 and 5 with a bullet. We're one of the best teams in the entire NFL today. Now, and we get a chance to put that on the line against a divisional opponent twice in the next 3 weeks. And at the end of these next 3 weeks, we'll be in week 15, right? That's playoffs will be almost decided, if not on the way to being fully decided. There is not a team worth their weight in shit who will look at us and want to play us in the playoffs.
Is shit the same weight as other stuff? Like if there's 1 pound of other stuff and 1 pound of shit, is shit way more?
I don't know.
Is that shit way more?
Traded shit.
I'm just saying, not even
Where's
that.
your weight in shit? I never heard this.
Sorry, I'm inventing things on the fly. But there,
Well, I loved it.
we're not playing. We've played every, and we will have played every NFC playoff team that is worth anything by the time we get there.
I agree.
We'll play the Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers. We won't have played the Seahawks. We'll have played the Giants. We dispensed with the Falcons. The way the NFC is lining up, there's nobody, really nobody, who should look at us and say, yeah, we'll take those guys on in a one and done situation. No one.
Nobody wants us.
And we're playing late season
now.
ball, by the way. We get up there, we line up, we mash
Nobody
them.
wants that
We
right
run
now.
a little play action. We're going to mash you. We're going to mash you again. We're not done, and we're going to not let you mash us.
Oh, yeah, and
We're
we're gonna-
not letting you mash us. Atlanta does a great job on the edge, and they
Mm-hmm.
did. And they did. They weren't mashing Payne, and they have a great game plan. But you know what? They wound up not mashing us.
And we're
Even
going to
though
run
they
the
were
ball with
effective.
5 guys about 36 times.
Yep.
So
And here we are. And by the way, we're also going to get pressure with 4, and we're going to have freaking maniacs flying around all of a sudden. Derek Forrest and Cam Curl making plays all over the place. Jamin Davis and
Bostic.
Lord, come on, Cole Hope.
We need Cole.
We need Cole. We need Cole, and we need St. Juice to be okay because
We need St. Juice to be okay. That's a
boy,
huge loss.
That
depending on
role
going
that
forward.
he's turning into somebody that we've never known.
He's a player.
We've never had a guy his size at this position.
Lock it down.
And
Nope.
that we can 6'3" bad SOB from Canada coming
we
down
had a
there and
washed
throwing
up
haymakers.
Deion Sanders.
But 6'3", this dude is a new wave type cat at the cornerback position.
The length.
and the strength, yes,
strength
the
and
length,
the
100%.
Strength.
The ability to when a Kyle Shanahan offense wants to line up,
Tackling
and there's
ability.
about 4 or 5 of them in this league that want to say, hey, we're going to pin everyone down and make corners make tackles. And listen, I make corners make tackles at the little league level. We've seen what happens at the high school level, but it goes all the way up. That's a guy that will come up and lay you out, and I love him, and I love the way he's been covering because that's been the blossoming of his guy. How these guys are learning underneath this coaching staff and growing. I think this is something that we all need to be really freaking excited about, man. This is not happening by accident. These guys are growing into the roles that we foresaw when we drafted them. And these guys are playing together at a level that we always said they're really drafting guys with character. So apparently this locker room adores itself.
Yes.
And when you get to this level and you're 7-5 playing for a championship, playing for a freaking playoff scenario, the locker room, it runs itself. The staff doesn't need to mess with that, and that's the best thing. I'm not sure we've had this scenario since we've been covering this team, since we've been rooting for
No.
this team in the Daniel
Right.
Snyder era.
And the thing that I would piggyback on that you just said, when you talk about every level you've coached at, you're as a coach, you're like, I want to make the cornerbacks make tackles, because we know in the NFL the best quarterbacks in the history of the league will tell you that's not why they got into business. They got into business to defend the pass.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about the impact that mentality has had on our team is the Brian Robinson effect. So the idea that we're getting a guy who's getting magically and miraculously and like weirdly getting healthier after the midpoint of an NFL season, of course, because he has that tread on his tires that's not there at the beginning of the season. He's a guy who none of those guys don't want to tackle this guy. I talk about Cordero Patterson and how big and strong and manly and unbelievably huge he is. Brian Robinson is that kind of guy. Brian Robinson is the kind of guy who will beat on you for 4 quarters if you give him a chance. He's a 20. Kevin, this is what we did talk about last week, about the idea that Brian Robinson, if we didn't have Antonio Gibson, he's a guy we can hand off to 25 times a game, and he would do just
You
fine.
can use up that rookie contract with a guy like that, no problem.
Easily. And the fact that you don't have to is what makes our offense that much more dangerous in a playoff run. Because in the third and the fourth quarter, so what do? We came out in the second half, 11 plays, I believe it was 60, 65 yards, something like that. I mean, on the ground. We had 75 to 80 yards on the ground in the third quarter, and we were eating up clock, and Brian Robinson was destroying it. And that's when you realize, wait a second, this is how you win postseason games. This is how you win one and done games. This is how you send teams home and you keep playing. Brian Robinson is the key to all of it in a way that it was hard to imagine putting this much into the idea of Brian Robinson but as a rookie and coming out of being shot and the whole lot. At this point in time, our offense is so, I don't want to use the word dependent, I would say fueled by the manliness and physicality of Brian Robinson, because he runs a way that Antonio Gibson doesn't, because Antonio Gibson isn't a born running back the way Brian Robinson is.
No, but
How many times just this past Sunday did Brian Robinson get hit short, but then Yeah, at least 3 or 4 times he got yards after contact.
Just touchdown catch?
Over. Yeah.
Touchdown catch,
Oh,
yeah.
of course. I mean, yeah, I wasn't even talking about those. I'm talking about
Right.
these things in the middle of the
Sure.
field, the ones that kept drives going.
And those are all linebackers and D linemen.
Dude, I mean,
He's a specimen.
yeah,
he's a natural.
Huge. It's
Wait till-
absolutely huge.
wait till we see what happens
The
to him,
formula
man.
is stop the run, force Heineke to beat you in the pocket. That's the formula. Problem is, last 2 games, they haven't figured out how to stop that. And going into the
He'll
next
make
one,
a play.
they're going to have to. Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Think about all the teams we've watched over the years where we actually did have a chance, and you really got to go back almost to North Turner, where you had a year in and year out offense that was. I mean, North Turner knew how to run an offense. Let's be honest. He was a gifted offensive coordinator at whether he was the OC or head coach.
Connell Westbrook, Davis, and Johnson. 4,000, 1,500, 1,000, and 1,000.
Oh yeah, no,
Jesus.
they got it done. When I watched this game this week, and you watch the Commanders play the last few weeks, the one thing you see is not just a willingness, but like a dedication to, fine, if you want to stop, we're going to run on first down, we're going to get 2, fine. We're going to run on 2nd and 8, we're going to get 4, fine. And we're going to be in 3rd and 4, right? We're going to be in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5.
3rd and 4 or less.
Every single drive, and then after we get that first down, same thing over and over again, and so.
70% in 3rd and 4 or less. 70% on 3rd down and 3rd and 4 or less.
Yeah. So the commitment, what did we beat up Norv Turner for more than anything else during his what I like to call desert of a
Putting
time?
his sweaty ass visor on T. Strachan sideways.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
All right,
that
we beat him
happened.
up for that.
We
Mostly.
beat him up for that
Thanks,
mostly.
Norv.
But he abandoned the run. I think he was guilty of that a lot.
Yeah.
And I one thing I don't see this offense doing is that. And
Oh, what is it? Sins of your father? What's that saying?
yes. Give me some scores, boys. They're starting to come in on the board. And it's a pretty consistent look. I was again way off. I said 30-19. That's we got on the strength of a lot of field goals. We had field goals.
That's fair. I'm going to go ahead and drop. I'm going to go first, T. I'm going to up a 23 to 13. 23-13. 23-13. I said it.
Tim Strachan, 23-13 is in the books for Kevin Ricka. What shall you say, sir?
Is that?
Yeah, that's John Toohey. Oh, John Toohey said the same thing. Of the Toohey clan.
Sorry.
I'm going to say
I love it.
1916 good guys.
You're going to old school, like Meadowlands, Jay Schrader versus Jeff Hostetler type situation?
1916 good guys.
Wow. The trash is like flying around the Meadowlands.
3 field goals. Our defense is not letting Daniel, my brother,
Daniel, my
Yes.
brother.
younger than me, do anything. I like it.
I am once again going to give us more points than you guys are giving us because I'm not a believer in the Giants right now. We started to say this about 15, 20 minutes ago. We've been saying it in some way, shape, or form over the last month. I think the Giants and the Skins, this is an inverse situation, Top Gun style, inverse, giving the bird to the MiG. This is where we started out hot and shown up, like hot garbage in November and December. We've done that a lot over the last 10 to 30 years. But the Giants are this is what the Giants haven't done. The Giants haven't put a whole season together in quite some time, and they're coming apart at the seams. If you're watching them,
Yeah.
they're not playing well.
It's not their best time.
This isn't their time to shine. And so J Dubs, I want to go 3-handle. I've just never been right with the 3-handle so far in the last month. But I am going to say I'm going to give a weird score because
Yeah, you are.
19-13 has been some weird stuff. I'm going to say we scored 29 points because we haven't scored 30 yet, and I haven't gotten haven't got that right. So I don't want to be the person. I want them to go over that, but I'm going to say it's going to be 29, and it's going to be 29-17. Good guys on the road in New York, and once again I am predicting a defensive touchdown. We didn't get it this week. Came close. But I do think we're going to get a defensive touchdown, and I think
Getting
once
greedy. We won the week before.
I know.
I'll take my 19 and 2 touchdowns offensively, a field goal and a safety.
Ooh, okay. It's going to come in a weird way, like missed extra points and random go for twos, and this is
The
the era we're
Meadowlands
in.
turf has the Meadowlands turf monster. Now that someone else has a turf monster, we have luxurious turf. Someone else gets scored upon late. We have a defensive hold at the end of the game, a deflected ball interception scenario. I mean, what's going on?
My prediction is like the last day of FedEx Field before they plant the dynamite sticks and blow it up like in the old West. I'm guessing that's how they do it with the little sticks that say TNT on them, and you just light them up like Bugs Bunny style.
Little Snyder wicks on them.
I'm guessing on that
Acme.
day the
Says
turf
Acme
is.
on it.
Does say Acme.
It does say Acme.
You got to punch in the clock. Too.
On that day, that turf is it's like the U.S. Open, second cut. It's going to be the most luxurious grass ever. We'll have just gotten it right, and it doesn't matter. Blow that MFR up, knock it into nothing. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Federal Express can do something with it. I'm not sure, but I never want to go. I don't want that to be my long-term place of going to watch games. Guys, we love this team equally in equal ways. We've been around it our whole lives. We grew up with it. It's not to be sacrilegious. It was passed down to us like a religion by our families. We didn't know any other way. Our whole hearts are in it. We've all gone to games. I went there for 20 years. You've been there for your whole life as well. Your family played for the team, worked with the team. I look forward to the next chapter of that. I'm ready to go back. It was perfect too
ready.
because I got kids now. It's a good time for me not to be going to games every Sunday because when you go to an NFL game, it's a commitment for the day. It's like
When did you
2
leave?
rounds of golf.
When did you leave?
I didn't do it. I used to do it.
When did you didn't go see the old tailgate?
I
didn't
reached
you?
out to him. By the way, here's the best part of the show. If you stayed around this long, you're gonna get a great
You're in
tidbit here.
for a real treat, guys.
The laws in Maryland and PG County specifically are make buying alcohol impossible on Sundays. You can't. There's no liquor stores or beer stores open right by the stadium in PG County.
They are in
Montgomery County.
Kensington.
They aren't here, but I'm just saying you have to. Either you make your plans beforehand or you
around
don't.
the stadium, they want you to buy it in the stadium.
But
Yeah.
Pat and Mike and I, we found a place. Like it was on Central Avenue. It might have been like right inside the line of DC. It was called Drink Smart, DRINX. Dude,
Mart.
Dude, seriously, if you're going to a game
Thirst
at FedEx
question.
Field, type Drink Smart into your Waze and just go. I'm telling you, it's got liquor, beer, all of it, everything you want. And if you don't have it
What
already,
else? What else? Come on, you're holding out on us. Liquor, beer.
Beer.
What else do you want?
what else do you want?
You said they had everything else that
Oh,
you want.
sorry. Actually, there's a dispensary right
Yeah,
next door.
smokes.
There's a dispensary right next
there
door.
you go.
I don't know that it's open on Sundays.
That's very smart. Mart. That's very
The Drink Smart.
X-Mart.
The
No,
Drink
but
Smart.
to be next door to a dispensary.
It's right next door to a
One-stop
dispensary.
shopping. Is there like some
That's
type
all
of
of it.
I mean, do
snack food?
do they have like? It's a mart. Do
Dude,
they have like
no.
some candy and some
No, it was a
cigarettes
It was
and
a
stuff?
half a size warehouse full of alcohol. I went to games for 20 years. If you didn't get your drinks before Saturday, you were screwed.
right.
Didn't even know about this. I think it must have been inside the city lines. I'm guessing. But long story short, it was close enough to where in an emergency situation, it's available. We went on the field. Just a different experience, a different process. We parked our cars, had a few drinks, standing in a downpour, which was good enough for me. You know how much I love that, and I did. I was fully rain geared out. But
In his PJs.
in my PJs, I look forward
my
to
PJs, though,
getting back
underneath my
to
clothes.
making a day of it. I think
me too. I
I
look
think
forward to it also.
in our lifetimes, we get past the point where our kids are, have stuff going on, and family stuff is more of a big deal during a period of our lives. And for folks on the board, I know everyone gets it. We're all at different phases of our life, but this is like a passion that is worth our love. It's worth the time we put into it. It's worth the energy we put into it, and we're getting a new owner. We're going down a new road. We're going to get a new stadium. I think the next phase, I envision the three of us at tailgates, for 3 or 4 hours before a game and going in to watch a game and then coming back out and celebrating wins the way, that's happened over the years. We're going to get back to
Still got that RV ready to go?
No, I was gonna say like Bartles and James style tailgates, like in like 30 years, or like you're seeing like right now.
I'm saying the next 5 years.
All right.
Within the next 5 years, and then but then Kev,
If that bad boy is right in the heart of the city, and I can take like some type of crafty way home, the future Uber way
Strachan's
home.
van.
we're getting
Perfect.
the Fanbulance. It's an ambulance, but decked out for the Washington team. We're going to get back to it. We're going to get back to it in a major way. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Again, push for 5,000 subs. You're on the board tonight. When we get to 5,000, you get a big hat. If that's
You
still
get
a
First
thing.
Amendment big
That's
hats?
a huge hat.
It's a huge hat.
You get
Oh, yeah,
Amendment-
First Amendment big
Amendment
hats.
big hats?
Do you know you have to get one now? You have to get one. No, but he can only get one, and he has to wear it, and it's not one size fits all. no matter what
Wash
they
your
say.
Ridgeway. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us. It's the Christmas season. Tomorrow we'll be we'll be doing the deep dive into December going forward from now until the rest of the season. It's straight holiday. We're gonna have some holiday themed stuff going on here. We're gonna talk about the team, but we're gonna get back into mixing up basement style. I'd love to bring back a draft or two in the next month, just to mix it into our conversation. We've gotten away from it because we got games to talk about, we got players to talk about, but wouldn't it be fun in the holiday season to do some drafts?
Christmas songs.
Oh,
Wash your mistletoes.
wash your mistletoes. Appreciate it, guys. Until next Tuesday night, he's Tim Strachan.
Appreciate it. Let's keep these Victory Tuesdays coming.
He's Kevin Ricker.
Hey, yeah, wash it all, but keep on coming back. Love this whole thing. I love it. I love the board. I love that everyone's all in. And guess what? We were right about this. We've hung in this way together. We're gonna have to figure out a way to get together with a hashtag wash something.
We're gonna washing it all.
I think we should just wash ourselves off and get out to the stadium so we can all hang out.
I wanted to tell you guys, we've been doing this show since 2015. Late 2015, early 2016. 2015, we were 9-7, but 2016, 8-7-1, famous year of the tie. Do you guys recall that? We haven't had a chance to cover a team with a winning record in terms of football since 2016, and that team was 8-7-1. So I'm excited about what.
That's cool.
It just makes what we do. So like that. I always said when I wrote on a daily basis at Hogs Haven, I always said that I always borrowed the words of General Marshall and Abraham Lincoln, which was this, and it was the very simple
They
idea.
both said it, or it's like a combination of what the two said.
Truly ours is a
Imagine-
unique sense of satisfaction. Truly ours is a unique sense of satisfaction for our team doing well because we have stuck it out during the worst of it. Plenty of people have jumped off, bought Jalen Wild jerseys. Plenty of people have been all over the place and checked out and not cared. And
Penguin
We've
out.
been here every Tuesday night for 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah.
Oh, Rhett became a Dolphins fan
Our
this year.
enjoyment, and the people who are with us, the people who are doing this with us, truly ours is a unique sense of satisfaction to be enjoying this team. Because who appreciates it more than us? Who appreciates it more than people?
Nobody
like us?
does.
People like us, nobody.
We
Nobody.
deserve Jordans and big hats and
Yeah, we do.
all kinds of embracing and everyone being happy on Mondays. Victory Mondays are back. How
I can't
about
wait
that
until
shit?
they come out with.
We'll be
big
back in
shoes.
7 days.
So that there would be the big J's with the big hat,
We're still live, by
and
the
then
way.
like a big, like old school 8-ball.
I'm gonna get you
jacket.
one big J.
The old starter.
So it's just hat, jacket.
I think Ken
shoes.
Harris has an 8-ball jacket. I would
Look like Kenny.
What was
from
that? What was
South
that
Park.
from? Like merry-go-round or where was that from?
No, up against the wall.
Up against the wall. Ken Harris had one of those.
I didn't have an 8-ball jacket, but I had many sweaters from up against the wall. And
Yeah, for sure.
they were Bill Cosby-esque.
Yeah. Oh,
They were more like
100%.
Theo-esque, I would say.
Yeah, I wore them. They were part of my McNamara uniform freshman year.
Yeah, they were eligible, but that was later on.
With a skinny tie.
Yeah.
The old skinny tie.
I had to wear the military, so.
I'm Ken Marangolo. This was Thank God
We're
It's
still
Tuesday.
live?
We're still live. We'll be back next Tuesday night.
To us?
Don't forget to
Jesus,
subscribe
sorry.
and like and tell a friend.
You just said
Hashtag
bye.
tell a friend.
I thought I was done. I didn't mean to keep it going.
You're never done.
I'm done.
Never done.
Jordans and big hats.